Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
I'm Todd Pleasant.
And I'm Brian Mix.
Hey, Brian. I keep on saying that, but
Gang's all here.
It's always good. Gang's almost all here. But
Gang's almost here. Yeah, you're right.
Welcome, Brian. We are going to do a potpourri of some things today, to use a game show word. I don't know. You'll just listen. Do you want to know what it is first, or will you listen?
I don't think we need to give advanced warning of what we're
If you listen to this show, you listen not because of the topics, I'm sure, because of us. Who's just
we will hit on at least two different universes tonight.
A couple different things.
I think people listen because we're just so goddamn entertaining.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
it's funny. This if anyone listens to the Smartless podcast, I was talking to someone about it. Like, I think they're great and they have great guests. They're now at the point where they hardly let guests get words in. Like Jennifer Garner, they were cutting her off. Like, guys, do a show with no guests. Don't cut Jennifer Garner off, please.
That's right. Nobody puts Jennifer Garner in a corner. Sorry.
That's right.
Or cuts her off. Either one.
So just a little, guys, just a little advice from people podcasting way longer than you. So if you're listening, Jason or Will or Sean, let the guests talk. Every month, do an episode with just the three of you. I would listen to it. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's do some random. Brian, what do you got?
Okay. Front page of Variety, above the fold, Hanks blasts off with You Mattel. Universal will develop Major Matt Mason, a live-action feature based on vintage Mattel action figures. Pick will be developed as star vehicle for Tom Hanks, and Graham Yost will write the script. Playtone partners Hanks and Gary Goldsman will produce. The only problem with this Variety article is dated March 25th, 2009.
They've been talking about that for a very long time.
For that long. But maybe Barbie will bring it across.
But here's the problem. Barbie, everybody knows what Barbie is.
Barbie's
Nobody knows what
most recognized toy in the world.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? Mattel all of a sudden is like, whoa.
And movie executives don't know anything.
We can make money off movies.
Wait, we own this other property that's the doll. Let's do that one.
Yeah.
Well, but and it's interesting because Barbie just passed $1 billion and it is like unbelievable success. But like, I think that it appeals to such a wide variety of different like people. Major Matt Mason doesn't appeal to anybody. Like, I mean,
Tom Hanks in a space
60-plus-year-old toy collectors.
Okay,
but
neither does Guardians of the Galaxy because only 3 people read the comic. Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm saying this is a clean slate thing. We're far enough away from the 1960s. If they play this right, this could be a funky.
But you know what, Todd? A counterpoint to that: if Guardians didn't get released as part of the MCU after a very successful run of movies, I don't think anybody would have just gone to see a movie called Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, so this was being released after a very successful doll movie. They should tie it into Barbie somehow.
Exactly.
Barbie Space Pal.
They should.
Okay.
Well, it's got Tom Hanks above the title. So
by your theory, Barry, Eternal should have been a hit. Okay, I'm saying it's not. It's also got to be the thing. Okay,
it's got to be good too.
It's got to be good,
but it's also got to be good.
This is Barry. I'm giving you like the one-line pitch. That thing you do in space.
It's not. Well,
60s. They got to set this in the 60s.
So.
It's got to be like the
Tom Hanks. I got to say, I don't think anyone's going for Matt Mason, but Tom Hanks, space, and sort of maybe a toy sort of tie-in. Those are good elements because
but you would say the same thing about Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible, and that movie has not burned the world down.
First of all, shut your fucking mouth with talk like that. How dare you?
I'm just
I haven't
saying.
seen it, but I was shocked to find out it's part 1 of 2. That surprised me.
Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones. I mean, like these things, not.
And that's why I'm saying
recipes for success necessarily.
Okay, right.
I'm looking forward to them making the movie, and that's the good thing. Whether it make it or don't, whether it costs $200 million or it makes $50 million, we still get to see it for our $15. That's the great thing about movies.
I'm going to dump big money into a movie right now. I'm going to look for something that doesn't come with preconceived notions, because that's entirely what the internet is about right now, is complaining that it wasn't the thing you wanted it to be. Okay? There is not a big group of people out there with a preconceived idea what Major Matt Mason should be.
I just hope he has the wires in his
limbs. Unfortunately,
just little holes behind the limbs. That's
For
it.
All Mankind season 2 was pretty much the Major Matt Mason movie.
That's true.
So interested to see what they.
I
come
want
up
one arm to always be like this because the wire snapped.
I'm just saying we'll never see this movie. It will never get released.
Okay. I mean,
Write
They
it down.
greenlit it though, supposedly. And
In 2009.
No. They just announced last week about
this
that
is-
though.
Yep.
Oh,
this is
did
the
they?
follow-on to that. They did, yeah.
Because
Okay.
of the Barbie thing.
I'm going to be bold on this. I think they will be filming this film before Fantastic Four.
I'm just shocked that they're announcing anything in the midst of a writer and actor strike. Like,
Well,
what are you announcing?
it's
Yep.
You're
development.
announcing
Why
an
did this
intent
thing-
to make something at some point in the future?
This thing's going to go on longer than any other strike, but the reality is it'll be over by January. It's no big deal.
You got to book movies. I mean, it's going to be crazy when this is over with, but they also did crazy schedule things post-COVID too.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah,
Okay, Barry,
we'll
what
see.
do you got? I'm trying to move us along.
No, I hear you. So they also announced this week that Wonder Woman 3 is going into development with Gal Gadot and James Gunn, and it's going to be for the DCU. But she said that she loves portraying Wonder Woman, and that Wonder Woman is a close and dear friend. But they haven't really said whether it's going to be part of the DCU proper or if it's going to be an Elseworlds thing and how it ties in. But
I think I like her as Wonder Woman. She got the raw end of the deal with that last movie. I'm happy to see it.
I don't care how they tie it in or what they do with it, as long as they make another movie with her, I'll be happy.
Okay, so my theory is they're going to Highlander 2 that second film.
Yeah.
They're just going to move forward and
Well,
pretend
it's
it never
1984. All
Never
they're going to
happened.
do is 1987 if they
well,
want.
she
Or-
has shown up in a couple of movies since then, anyway, right? She's in the Flash. No,
Yeah,
she's in the
she's in the
Flash,
The Flash.
and isn't she also in? Does she show up in? God, why am I drawing a blank? Shazam? Does she show up in that?
Yeah, she
Okay.
does. The second
Now,
one.
here's the
Right.
thing, though. Okay, now in Wonder Woman, she's got one set of armor. Okay, in the Justice Batman Superman Dawn of Justice, she has the same set of armor. In her subsequent other two appearances, she has that same set of armor. In Wonder Woman 1984, she's got a completely different armor. It's brighter. It's configured a little bit differently. Alternate reality. It's just.
I think she's a Skrull in that movie. It's
Yep,
not
yep.
really her.
I think Barry, you just hit it right there. She's a Skrull. Yep.
She should just have a line like, "Boy, the '80s were embarrassed in so many ways."
80s
No,
were rough.
she's gonna.
and we can all agree with
She's
that.
gonna get up. She's gonna be putting her uniform on. Steve Trevor's gonna step out of the shower, and it's gonna be like, "Whoa!"
Look, if James Gunn's involved, I think they'll find a way to make it work, and
I'm
He
happy.
will.
he's
I-
got a good
that-
track record. So
But that movie was like Indiana Jones. It was like one period in the thing. It doesn't tie into anything. It doesn't need to. There's no dead story
it's
or
fair.
anything.
Actually,
All
they got all of World War II to 1984 to do something. Right.
Or 84 to 2023. Doesn't matter.
I mean, if
She doesn't age.
she's
With
been
the
showing
brief
up in
stop
things that are more
the brief
modern.
Stop in
So.
2016 to tell the boys to stop fighting, but other than that, yeah.
Barry, you got something else?
I do. You guys know who Jim Jarmusch is?
He's a director.
Pretentious filmmaker douchebag?
Yeah,
Jim
pretty
Jarmusch?
much.
So I want to add him to your list now, Dave.
Oh, now it's your list, but yeah.
Well, let's add it to the list, because here's what he said.
Give me the criteria.
Here's what he said. He said he will never see a Star Wars franchise movie out of protest over its cultural impact. Here's what he said. I will never see Star Wars films because I resent that I know so much about them and their characters. He said, why is it all in my head when I've never actually seen one? Why do I know about R2-D2 and Darth Vader and all of these things when I've never seen a Star Wars movie? And then he said, these are very subjective, just kind of stubborn things on my part. I don't like mass things being shoved at me, but I will go see them. Like The Terminator is a masterpiece of cinema. It's a big action movie, essentially. So I don't differentiate. But you do differentiate because you saw The Terminator, but you're saying you'll never see Star Wars and you resent its cultural impact.
You know, that Shakespeare guy stuff is all in my head, and I've never seen one of his plays. What an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I hate that.
Exactly.
I just, I'm Jim Jarmusch has directed 31 things. I looked at
I've
his
never
IMDb
seen
today,
any of them. He looks
and
like a
I've never
tool.
seen any of them. So good for him, but he is now on the list.
He's on the list. I'll put him on the list right next to Brett Ratner.
That's how a press agent gets the guy's name on in the paper.
But
when they're on
Yeah,
strike.
if that's the only way.
That was one article above John Boyega explaining another plot line that didn't happen in the last film.
Well, you know where so much of this stuff comes from now that there's so many stupid podcasts, as we can attest to. They're guests on these, and they just say an offhand comment, and now it's
it's
news.
It's a page and a half article. Yeah.
Todd, what do you got?
Okay, so bear with me for a second here. I'm going to give you my elevator pitch for Secret Invasion that doesn't suck. Okay, because we all agree Secret Invasion sucked, right? Okay. I spent
Brian, you agree
several
with that?
days.
Oh yeah, the worst.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I spent a couple
Oh,
days
the
thinking
worst.
about this and taking all the pieces that they had, what they could have done, and actually made it interesting, but left something that you could move forward with. So you get an opening shot. We got
Are we
Everett
doing
Ross.
shot by shot?
And
Sorry.
just a teaser, okay? Everett Ross and Maria Hill with this, this diplomatic mission coming out of building, getting into SUVs. He gets in one car, she gets into another car. Obviously, there's a Wakandans there because there's always Wakandans there. Okay, on a building down the street, some guy with hoodie and obviously like an alien RPG blows up the lead vehicle. Maria Hill is killed. Everett Ross runs over, like pulls the door open heroically, pulls her body from the car, and she is a dead Skrull. Okay. Then
This is all just so that you don't have to have Maria Hill be dead.
And we pull back to watching this on a big monitor on the space station, on the Sword space station. And Nick Fury said, "What the motherfucking shit is this?" And then the phones start ringing. The president's calling. The CIA chief is calling. And Maria Hill is calling. This is like, you said this wasn't going to happen. Okay. Everyone's pissed. After the blip, when several Skrulls that were disguised as humans blipped back in their Skrull form, Nick Fury promised he would remove all the Skrulls from Earth, all his Skrull agents. He didn't because he's Nick Fury. So now he has to round up all his Skrull agents that he's had in place since the 90s. So him and Talos go to do this, but they're all being killed, or several of them are being killed. Okay. And we find, I'm getting to it here. Okay. The Secret Invasion is not the Skrulls. It's the Kree. Okay. Who look just like humans. Okay. The Kree have been planting people like deep cover Russian agents in various families since the 1960s. They're now in those same political positions. They're generals. They're holding high political office. One of them may be an Avenger. Okay. But they're aliens, and they're aliens with an agenda. Actual true kind of actual spy kind of thing. Same people on the board, and you can leave it open-ended.
Well,
So
I mean, listen,
you tie in the Skrull Kree War, which is
that's certainly better than what we were given. I mean, I heard an interview with the director of the miniseries, and he said the only direction he was given was that it needed to end with Nick Fury going back up to the space station.
Yep.
That's pretty
That's
much
all
what you got.
That's the only direction that they got, and yet somehow we got what we got. So
you can lean in heavy to paranoia. You still have Krees, you still have Skrulls. You can go on from here. You can develop this in different films, but again, you lean heavy into the same kind of conspiracy paranoia thing that you had in Winter Soldier. So, anyways, that's my idea.
Not going to happen. Sorry.
Marvel,
It's over. Hopefully there won't be a season 2.
at the risk of extending this conversation a little further,
Oh, Jesus.
wasn't there a Secret Invasion storyline in the comic books that they stole the name from but didn't actually deliver any of?
That they, again, basically,
I love that comic.
Rhodey having been a Skrull was like the one element that they.
Right. So, I mean, they had a storyline that they literally could have just translated from the comics and chose not to.
Well, they couldn't do it because it was a superhero story, and they were doing this without superheroes, and that's why I'm saying you flip
And
the script.
don't call a Secret Invasion if you're not going to
still
deliver
make
the
an
Secret
invasion. You just
storyline.
don't make it obvious. You know,
like they've got a movie coming out called Secret Wars. Is that not going to follow the Secret Wars?
Oh no, it's going to tie into this. Yes,
right. So
that's actually the sequel to Secret Invasion. So, yeah.
Barry, The Cure.
I like The Cure, but they were one of the more boring bands I ever saw live.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I have Lin-Manuel Miranda claims he wants to make Warriors into a stage musical.
I saw that.
And I think that could work. I think that could be interesting because it's a pretty simple story.
It's the story of a gang running across New York City.
Yeah, they'll do it.
They could reuse the sets in the Heights. Okay, they just take the sets. I saw In the Heights, center, like third row back. It was amazing. You saw. It was again. They just use those same sets and just keep moving them around. And it's like, oh yeah, throwing some plants. Okay, now it's Central Park. It's like,
they could do it.
I haven't seen The Warriors since probably high school, and I just recorded. It was on the other night, and I recorded it. So it's on my DVR.
I just watched about 40 minutes of it, and I do have it on my. Oh, I don't have my DVR anymore. I gave it up, but I've watched it. It's as bad as it was, but it always was bad. But
that's the thing.
It's a classic.
I mean, the only thing I'll say, and it ties into what we're going to talk about in a little bit, but I'm not so sure we need a whole lot more like good or IP properties that we're fond of being turned into musicals. But I guess we'll talk about that in a little while.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see that.
What year did Warriors come out?
79.
79. Okay. So I was going to say, I do distinctly remember a Hollywood, a Halloween where everyone dressed as Warriors characters, at least a Halloween party. So,
I know a guy who worked on it.
It was a thing for 15 minutes.
And he said, and he's a guy who was in film business for a long time. I'm like, what was that like? He's like, it was like having open heart surgery performed on you with no anesthetic. That's what it was like. All nights, no permits, all throughout New York. It was just a freaking nightmare.
Total run and gun film.
Real gang members. So, yeah. Okay, I got another quick thing. And I think we've texted or talked about this offline. And if you got to go to test it, Adam Savage tested. He's have a number of videos at this place, Earl Hayes, that basically has made every paper product in every movie. Brian,
you got me to watch. I ended up watching every one of those videos over the weekend.
Are you familiar with Earl Hayes, Brian? Because you
only from the videos. It was a really good, well kept secret in Hollywood. Apparently,
not anymore.
I feel like if I was in LA, I would go there. I'm like, look, I'm working on a video. I need some stuff, and I would buy some stuff from them. Like, why can't
I'm sure you have to have some kind of credentials as a prop master to even
in
get
this day and age? I don't know.
No. All you need is a good-looking business card and a PO number.
Yeah, like they have bearer bonds. Like, I want to go find the same bearer bonds they used in Die Hard. But
my favorite part of that video, which is like nobody cares but me, I guess, but when they made Spaceballs, they made up labels for the water bottles that said Perrier instead of Perrier, and apparently they didn't realize that that's what they were, and they've been selling them for years as Perrier labels, and they only, now that this guy's in there archiving it, just realized that they were not.
Well, no, but
labels.
They can't sell name products.
No, I know, but they didn't realize they were selling these Spaceballs things that were actually like people would have actually cared about.
But Morley cigarettes that was on the X-Files, they've been selling them for like 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they did a Blade Runner. They had the actual printing block that made the Blade Runner IDs, and then they made one on one of these videos. That was amazing.
It's a 3-piece printing block, and they actually still had all 3 pieces of it together.
Oh, it was just the stuff that's in there. It's just amazing. So,
but even those bearer bonds, the crazy thing with that was they have the Die Hard bearer bonds, and I guess they're double side printed. And they were saying that there have been replicas of these made, and Adam said he even bought one once, being told it was an original. But when he got it, he realized it wasn't. And they apparently had thousands of them printed because those scenes at the end of the movie when they're falling, they were just dumping them out of the top of the building. They said there were no close-ups, so they didn't need to be like really well finished. Just crazy stuff that's in that.
It's time to start that documentary on Casablanca and say, I need the letters of transit copied again, please, so we can use them for our documentary.
Yeah, those just the guy who's working on it now is definitely putting those things aside, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But that table, in the video, they had a table that they just had tons of stuff piled on.
But they pulled all that stuff out.
Yeah, but like
really,
they had the Ecto 1 license plate. They had the Out of Time license. Like all this stuff. They
made the stickers for the Ectomobile. They made everything. It's really cool. I thought at first I'm like, oh, paper props, who cares? But I have found it fascinating. And then there's the guy, I don't know his name, but he's got a channel called Props to History. He's got a couple videos about it as well. So
one of the other crazy things that they said that they were doing some work on an air conditioning duct, and they found a tube and they pulled it out, and it was the original blueprints for the flux capacitor. Yeah, they didn't even realize they had them.
That's crazy. It's awesome. It's really, really cool. You know who also is cool? Fanboy Collectibles. Gentle Giant statues, Vader, Obi-Wan, and Bo-Katan. Everyone needs those. Check those out.
All in stock right now.
All in stock. X06 Krug, speaking of Back to the Future, Christopher Lloyd as Krug. That is a very good-looking figure.
Oh, my God. It looks incredible.
I just don't know how much of a rabbit hole I want to go down with those things, but it really looks good. There's a Prime 1 Aliens egg statue with facehugger that just is creepy and great if you're into that. But they got everything you need. Pops and Sideshow and Hot Toys and Kotobukiyas and statues and, lots of Exo-6 stuff coming out of
Star Trek Vegas convention.
Star Trek Vegas, and before that, San Diego Comic-Con. So hopefully more of that will be showing up on the site. Check those guys out, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the regular Joe's saying. Okay. Let's deal with this Star Trek musical episode that Barry was so worried about and was right. And let's not spend a lot of time because it doesn't deserve it.
What?
Does it deserve? Did you like it?
Loved it.
Oh my God, you're crazy.
Todd did too.
I thought it was fantastic.
Loved it.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you guys? It was
awful. Who doesn't like
so...
K-pop Klingons?
It was so useless. It was said served no, and well, it did serve a purpose where it moved the story along, but I feel like it was tied up in just stupidity. I was just not good.
They had fun doing it. They used the talent that they had. They showed, as the animated episode did, the tie-in with the animated series episode, that there's really no frontiers that they can't hit. People have tried since Buffy to do this, and nobody's come. Now, I won't say this is as good as Buffy. It was the closest anyone's come. They came up with a premise.
I'm so shocked. Your pal Sean totally disagrees.
That's fine. They came up with a premise. They made it work in. They didn't overdo it or overuse it. It was funny the way they used it.
They didn't overdo it.
No, I don't think they overdid it. It wasn't every.
It could have been opera. They could have sung every single line.
That's exactly.
So let's let Todd and Brian talk, and then I'll jump in after.
I thought it was fine. I think the characters behaved in character. I liked that they still managed to squeeze some stuff in, moving the stories forward, like the Kirk and La'an thing. I thought that was handled really well.
Spoilers, though, by the way. Kirk and La'an, Chaplain Spock, Captain and the other hot captain.
Again,
they filled a lot of story in with an episode that no one wants to watch.
Well,
except for you two.
I disagree.
It's universally hated across all the fan forums.
I don't think that's true either. I don't.
Well, from what I've seen, it is very, very split. And
it started.
We
like
didn't need that for the show.
Two super
this
low
is like
scores on the rating sites, and crept up on both of them.
Well, this whole season has been like that, Dave. It was a criticism of mine from the beginning, is that they were doing episodes this season is like you do an episode 75 and 99.
Yeah.
Right. You don't do them in your second season. But once I let go of that, once I realized that this wasn't going to be Pike going boldly where no man has gone before, finding new alien races and parables for modern day things. Once I let that go, I like the season a lot more.
I like this. I like every episode except for really this one. It's like every song sounded like the same like style of song. Like I'm just going to talk through all my, except for the dancing number. Now, if you have music in your head, why do you have dancing too? That just makes no sense. And the premise was the stupidest. There's a gaseous form that's making us sing. It was weak. It could do better. They could do better. Barry?
So I was obviously worried about this, and I feel, having seen it now, I was worried for good reason. I disagree with you, Todd. I think they way overdid the music in this. I think if there had been one or two songs less, it might have been easier. I'll say this. I give them credit because they totally swung for the fences. They did not try to dabble in this. They went full, all, in.
I would have liked someone. It would be cool if everyone sang a different type of song, not sort of the Broadway musical. I'm singing what I'm thinking. Why didn't someone do like a new wave song? Why didn't someone do a rock song?
That was the theme. Was doing a musical.
And Anson Mount sounds like David Hasselhoff. Barry, please continue. Sorry.
Well, look, I don't expect all of these people to be good singers, but the Spock singing was so clearly auto-tuned, it actually really was hard for me to listen to. I don't know. I mean,
a little hokey. It's just no use.
I feel like if the crossover with the animated series had been at the beginning of the season and this was at the end, but coming like with one episode in between, I just felt like it was two gimmicky episodes right back. And I loved the animated crossover. This just didn't work for me at all. I was actually bored.
Like everything they do, you want them based a little in some kind of science and not like this is like a season 3 TOS thing on steroids, that the whole premise of how they were singing made no sense. I
totally disagree. I will concede that this should have been in the third season. This should not have been. You don't do the two total premise breaking things in the same season. This in the animated
one episode in between, no less.
That's what I'm saying. I totally agree that this could have been. Yes, it would have worked better in another season.
I think where this stuff comes from is like, I feel like every actor is also a frustrated singer because you got to be an actor, singer, dancer to make it in this stupid business. And they all want to sing. I mean, like, get over yourself. Isn't Anson Mount in a band or something too?
And that's kind of what I was saying. Like, they did a great job. Like, they all fully committed. There was I didn't feel like anybody was like, doing it against their will or rolling their eyes or anything like that. Like
Ortega and the Doctor were not thrilled about doing it.
But it just, this was like the Last Jedi of Star Trek episodes to me. Only because everything I've read, it really seems to have split people down the middle.
Going back to the Shakespearean episode, that was the worst episode of the show.
That was pretty bad. Was that the
season? No, that was.
Last season?
That was first season. That was ridiculous.
I thought that was pretty bad. That was
and
the bad
even in this gimmicky
season.
episode, they still had to bring Kirk back in. Like, I mean,
okay. And Brian, you sent that thing to us.
Yeah,
we don't need Kirk in this show. I don't get it. I really don't know why they're relying on
with
him.
the exception of the Balance of Terror episode. They could have used Sam Kirk instead of Jim Kirk in all of these episodes, and it would have worked just as well.
They could substitute so many people. I get you throw him in one episode just to get a glimpse of him, and then we don't need to see him again. Now he's interacting with Spock.
Or you bring him back in the third or fourth season as another cameo, but he's been in too much this season.
He's got more screen time in the episodes he's in than Pike does.
I think the writers are just having a great time playing with their Kirk doll.
They are.
Hey, I can write Kirk's dialogue. Hey, I'm a writer. I can type Kirk, and now Kirk's in the show.
Yeah, like do the show that you're doing. The Pike Spock #1. Like, do that. That show's interesting. You don't need to rely on Kirk because some stupid fans
just
don't
send
think
them on a 5-year
no
mission
Star Trek without Kirk.
I'll say this though: if the finale's good, then I can accept one episode per season that I don't like. And so far, this was the only one this season that I really didn't like.
And I will say, as much as I will defend this episode, I probably liked it the least. If you put it up against the other episodes, I probably liked it the least of the episodes. I do appreciate what they tried to do. I think there's some people there that can really sing really, really well. I think this is the Ahura-centric episode that we needed, that she hasn't really gotten since she's been featured, but not really as prominent in this. And the woman is a fantastic singer. I mean, that's what she brings to the
I'll
show.
give you that. But the whole way they wrapped up let's get to 340 gigawatts or what? Like, give me a break. It's just weak.
Again,
I will agree with one thing you said for sure, Todd, is that the Klingon boy band thing was funny. It was very funny.
Yeah.
Very out of character, but I got it. But
yeah. Did you know who the head Klingon guy was?
No.
That's Bruce Horrick. He was the Andorian engineer last season.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
I did appreciate that in the very first song they kept saying, "Why are we singing?" Because that's what I was.
And that's
the whole time.
Them setting up the Corby thing for Chapel was really interesting.
I thought that was really
interesting, and I thought it shouldn't have been in an episode.
It shines a whole new light on the line in later in what little girl's made of.
Yes.
When she says, "Mr. Spock, have you ever been engaged?" It's like, oh, that line cuts so deep.
Now it's exactly.
Which was Corby, the one we turned the people into androids?
Well, sort of, because it's not actually him.
Ted Cassidy or
Ted that's the Ted Cassidy.
And that hot, what's her face with the little crisscross deal?
Andrea. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but at the point that they meet him, he's not really him anymore. So
yeah.
So he's already been androidized. But
spoilers.
So do we not see her? Do we not see her next season? She's only gone for 3 months. She said 3 months,
but she may come back engaged and be very cold to Spock, and we'll see.
Well, she's already cold to Spock.
Colder.
As of this episode, for sure. I mean,
shut him down.
He sang a whole song about him being the ex.
Yeah, and
that was stupid.
They barely had a relationship. Now
dialogue was horrible.
Okay, so I'm just in a moment of sympathy for Spock here. Okay. I will say, as a human male, I often find women very hard to understand. Now, you give someone who's got like a 2-month perspective into being a human male, trying to understand his way through that relationship, I have some serious Spock sympathy. I do, because he's got no clue what's going on at any moment.
She's kind of a jerk to him in this episode.
He's had this pass of, I don't use my emotions at all because I'm distant, whatever. But then when he's actually got to turn it on and engage and stuff, and they're just pulling the rug out for him right and left, I feel bad for the guy. Yeah, no wonder he reverts into TOS Spock. So it's like, I'm done with this shit.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
I'm going to be cold and stoic.
Okay, let us know what you thought. We're split votes here, people. Split vote.
Yeah.
And that's why I invited Brian on tonight. Thank you, Brian.
Thumbs up.
And just Todd, so you know, I texted Dave, I think it was Saturday. I'm like, did you watch this yet? And I didn't want to give my perspective one way or another. And he said he hadn't watched it yet.
I didn't watch it until last night.
Yeah, so
but
Todd made it very clear to me that he loved it. And did I tell you I didn't? I don't think I did. I
kind of knew from your silence that you didn't.
My secret 1/6 collector friend in Boston and his wife also loved it. So there.
Oh, I do know other people that loved it. I will totally concede that it should have been another season that, away from that. There should have been some space between that.
It should be season 3, episode 6, sort of in the middle. You got more. Now we only got one to, if you didn't like it, to get the bad taste out of your mouth.
I will say the episode that nobody likes from last season, okay, the Elysian Kingdom thing, okay, they probably had more fun making that than they did anything else they did last season, okay?
And that's for your own fun, people.
No, but I'm saying this is kind of probably the same thing. This was, some people got into their comfort zone, some people got way out of their comfort zone. I'm sure this was an enormous amount of work for them.
I totally agree.
So much more than a regular episode.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing while I was watching.
So,
like I said, I give none of it felt like they held anything back. I mean, I give them credit for swinging for the fences for sure. It just didn't work for me at all.
Yeah,
I concede one episode that I don't like. Fine, I love the season. My only other gripe is the Kirk thing. Kill him off. We don't need him.
Yeah,
You
kill
know,
him off.
this I look at the Kirk thing as kill him off is kind of like be careful what you wish for. So many people harped on the when are we going to see Kirk? When are we going to see? When are we going to see Kirk? And this
No,
was
this wasn't
they
the
thought
place.
that they thought they were just saying, oh, okay, we'll tease a little Kirk, and then we'll whatever. And then when they did, people were like, oh, we got Kirk, we got to see more Kirk, we got to see. And it's like, but there's a split. And I think people are divided. I am honestly on the side of, I think we've seen enough Kirk.
I think
I
we've
liked
seen
it.
too much.
No,
yeah.
I think I could
The
have.
Pike Spock #1 plus the other dynamic is great.
Yeah.
Kirk's not needed.
I felt like one of these Kirk episodes would have worked for this season, and I felt like
the one with Lon where he goes back and when that was all we needed of Kirk.
But that had baggage with it. That's the problem. I don't think we need to see him at all, to be honest with you.
I will say the only place that you could ever have gotten out #1's kind of ruminations about being first officer were someone with someone else who was another first or was in training to be a first officer. It's not something she could ever have admitted to somebody else, and I found that interesting. But again,
that goes back to Dave's point. There was a lot of really good plot in this that was kind of secondary because the focus was on the singing.
Yeah,
a lot of good story points in this.
A lot of good. I mean, if we really get down to it, how many? The Corby thing, the Spock and Christine, the captain and the other captain, the #1. There was a lot spewed out in something that you really weren't able to concentrate on. I felt anyway.
I will tell you something and this is a whole other thing which we can talk about at some other point, but as I'm watching this, I'm really realizing that the JJ Trek characters are basically the archetypes they're basically who people think those characters are versus, you see what I'm saying? It's like they're almost like the stereotypes of each one of those characters, but there's no real growth. There's no real anything like that. We actually see insights into some of these individual people here. And I'm thinking of like the 3 versions. And I actually feel like some of the Strange New World characters, I actually feel like I know more because it's not just, what I'm saying? It's not just, okay, it's the lead 3 people and that's it. And occasionally somebody gets a line. Versus
they also
the
have
movie.
it's
more
but I'm saying,
sophisticated
writing than.
But when you get into the JJ movies, it's very much the, Kirk is the horn dog. Spock
but you kind of have to do
smart,
that
but doesn't really get it. Oh, I know that. No, but I'm saying it's just
expand on it in a series.
Right. It's just different interpretations of the different characters, and I find that interesting. Now that we have all of this, these different things, I just find that very, very interesting. It was just interesting. That's the only thing I liked about seeing Kirk was actually getting some insight into who Kirk actually is when he's not the boss in charge and has to be just that guy. So anyways.
Well, and I've said it before, I really like this show, but I don't love that Kirk. And it's something to, I'm not a big fan of recasting and all that anyway. It's hard for me to believe that actor and that interpretation becomes the Kirk that we know from TOS, but that's why, to me, do it as sparingly as possible because it doesn't feel like Kirk to me.
Does Spock feel like Spock to you?
Yes, more so than Kirk does.
The guy, he's out of place. He's got no place in this.
Who knows? Maybe there'll be a giant turning point episode in Kirk's personality. It'll bend him.
I don't want to see any more Kirk.
Interesting.
Did you feel like the Kirk? Did you feel like the Kirk in the season finale last year was more Kirk than the samplings of Kirk we've got in this season? Because I did. I kind of felt like he was trying to, he was
doing a little bit
Kirk
more
as
of
a captain.
Yeah,
and but he was also being a little more assertive, and he was being more, this is kind of just like Lieutenant Kirk just kind of hanging out and trying to blend in, and
it's just like he's here for a whole freaking thing.
It's like he's on vacation and
that's what I'm saying. It's not who we know, but it's also
it's like it's an episode of Magnum PI and Magnum's buddy is there and he's just going to help him solve the crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't get it.
At times it feels like an episode of Boba Fett where Boba Fett doesn't show up. No, just kidding. Okay.
Listen, and I love this show, so I don't want any of this to sound like I'm. I mean, I love this show.
Yeah, me too. But it's just that's the one flaw.
Yeah.
I think.
I've wondered sometimes whether they're just if they're trying to de-emphasize Kirk by making it clear that Kirk at this point is just one of the guys. He's not the guy.
But he's not really one of the guys because he's the youngest guy that's ever going to be getting his own command, and
that's in the future.
They've already made that clear,
right? But
no, his first officer.
He's youngest first officer.
Right.
He will be the youngest captain.
But who cares? You want to know? Unless they're waiting for a Kirk in his first command series, fine. If they're setting that up, I'll give it to him. But that could be interesting. What if it's like, this is the Spock and Pike, and we're also developing a Kirk on the Farragut or whatever he's on. That could be interesting.
That could be interesting. If it doesn't take away from this show, I wouldn't mind seeing 6 episodes of Kirk on the Farragut in his first week or first month or first year.
Or maybe we go to, what was his first his first command? I don't remember. Stargazer?
It was not.
Yeah, Stargazer.
Anyway.
It's not like, and I know we should stop, but it's not like TOS. It's not like the first episode or the first season of TOS was the first day of the 5-year mission. Show us the beginning of the 5-year mission.
I think it would be interesting to see what.
Yeah, but it's all those characters we're seeing on this show. We don't want that.
I think Dave's right. I think he should be on the Sacagawea or whatever it is, whatever ship he is on in this canon. That is his first command.
I'd like to see what he does on the Farragut that gets him promoted to the flagship.
That would be cool.
What the hell did he pull off as first officer? Did they promote him to captain?
Why are they showing him so much unless they have plans for something?
I think his captain gets himself killed.
That's what I'm saying. I know. Yeah. I bet he's got to take the chair, and they just leave him in the chair.
Right.
Because that's how that happens. That's how that happens in the military. When somebody gets a battlefield.
Yeah, you get a battlefield promotion.
And that's otherwise you're promoted strictly on.
I'll take that show as long as there's no singing. I don't want any more singing in Star Trek.
Okay, moving on. I'm just gonna jump in with my little thing. I'll be quick. So on Saturday
what'd
night.
you do Saturday?
I went to a place called Tanglewood. It's an outdoor-indoor amphitheater in Massachusetts to see John Williams. They do, I guess every year they do a John Williams film series, film night, and one other conductor, and he plays all their, sorry, I just hit my mic. Plays a bunch of different film music. And as you know, John Williams has quite the catalog. So just a little bit about Tanglewood. I've never been there. I've never heard of it really before, and I've heard of it. So, and I know Todd's been there because it's not that far from him, but it's only an hour and 45 minutes from here. It's like
it is also, interestingly, an hour and 45 minutes from me. So
that's weird. It is literally straight up New York and then jump into Massachusetts.
It's in the Berkshires, and it's as close to
So we went early. We went to have dinner at some place early. The show was at 8.
You went somewhere in Lenox?
We went somewhere in Lenox. We went Trattoria, something or other, this Italian place that's in a barn. And that was only 4 miles away from Tanglewood, the parking lot. It took us an hour and 15 minutes to get from the restaurant to the parking lot, to the point where I thought we were going to miss the thing. This small town, which is beautiful and charming, has these roads, and the whole place is all about this Tanglewood, where thousands of people are driving into these parking lots
on a Saturday night. Yes,
it's crazy.
Yep.
And the thing, so we had seats sort of in this amphitheater, and then they sell the lawn, which I don't get why you can't see anything. You could just hear, and there are thousands and thousands of people sitting on the lawn. It's nuts.
Yeah, but the thing is with the lawn is you get a lot of people they'll have subscriptions and will go like all summer. This will be their weekend thing.
They have like their whole freaking an RV full of shit that they're bringing with them, blankets and coolers,
there's good speakers out there.
And...
I've been on the lawn for a couple things that I wasn't excited about, crazy excited about seeing, but it's just a nice experience. And yeah, it's cool.
So my experience of going to a John Williams concert, and Dave, tell me if this isn't the same you had, is he'll play something and you'll go, oh, that's the best one he ever wrote. Then he'll play Raiders. Oh, that's the best thing he ever wrote. Then he'll play Superman. Oh, that's the best thing he ever wrote. Do you have the same experience? Song after song after song?
There was something. So, the funny, I've been to, and I was excited about it because I've seen John Williams, and it didn't really, the whole orchestra thing didn't really hit me because I've seen orchestras. I've gone to the ballet. I've gone to musical plays. I don't think I've been to something to see an orchestra for the sake of the orchestra. It was always supporting something else. And I found it fascinating. I was so like, I was had tears in my eyes at one point. It was so exciting.
I did too.
I was choked up. The guy playing this one guy plays like 6 different xylophones. There's a guy who plays like the main flute, and they do a great job with a video guy, and there's big screens. Like the single flute guy has got, some single Superman thing, and they zoom in on him, and then the guy next to him with some weird oboe looking thing. But that was fascinating to me. And the idea that the music you hear in a movie theater is all coming from these people actually playing these instruments. Even though I've been around for a lot of years, it was just it hit me like, oh my God, these people actually make this music, and it comes out to be the Imperial March or whatever. I thought it was amazing. It was so exciting to be there.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Have you ever seen him, Barry?
I haven't seen John Williams. We took the kids years ago to the Star Wars in concert, which was all his music, but it was he wasn't conducting. Yeah. And he's playing
Carnegie Hall in February, and I don't know if there's tickets, but if there is, we should go.
It's amazing. I had goosebumps, and I teared up a couple times. It is phenomenal. And again, like when we went, they were doing the Rise. He was finishing up the Rise of Skywalker. And he said that this week I did the last music for that. And he says, and if you want to know what that's like, he said, they said they needed 10 minutes of bridge music between this and this, and now they need it to be 3 minutes long. And so so I did a little of this, and he played this. He said, but then I made it more like this, and it was like this. It's just, and then, he's like got a piece of yellow paper, and he's reading like notes, and he says, but it's got to be more ominous. And it's like, it was just really cool.
This is just looking at, so there's like 20 violin players. I look at, and I had my binoculars, just that one person can get noise out of that instrument that actually sounds like music, let alone 100 other people playing 50 different things. And this guy can write music for every single one of these instruments, the flute solo, the violin solo, the timpani guy, the freaking xylophone dude, the guy with the weird oboe looking thing. I just found it fascinating. I'll end up and I'll run down what they played, because so the first half is this guy David Newman, who is a conductor, and John Williams was actually best friends with his uncle.
Yes.
So he played Hooray for Hollywood, which wasn't John Williams. He played a John Williams from a 1972 movie called The Cowboys, and that was
which from a steak commercial, from the Beef Council.
Holy
commercial.
Shit! Like it felt like a Western, and that was like, oh my God, this is like real music being played by. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Then they played something from Vertigo. Then they played something, The Suite from Far and Away, Tom Cruise movie. Everyone bow your head. The theme from Jurassic Park. So this is not John Williams yet, but it's all his music. Then they played the Love theme and the March from Superman, and that brought me to tears. Jesus Christ. That was like, the fact that this freaking music is coming out of these people playing all this shit. It was crazy. It's interesting choices. So John Williams comes out, and this dude's 91, and he is sharp as a tack. He talks. They all, they have a little microphone. Huh?
The white jacket?
White jacket, yeah. Oh. Everyone was wearing white.
I know, but he just comes. It's just like, it's like everyone's wearing white. He comes out in the white jacket, and it's just like the room is all about him. It's amazing.
The Adventures of Mutt from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was interesting. If you're hearing that music on its own, there's all this music, and then there's little tiny subtle indie theme played in there, which I thought was interesting. Something called Call of the Champions. So the other thing they did, they brought in the Boston University Tanglewood Institute Young Artists Choir. So like maybe 40 people singing, because they did something from Amistad, which was great. Then they did Duel of Fates from
when you
Phantom
said they
Menace.
brought in singers, I'm thinking you're going to say Duel of
I have
Fates.
a little video of that. That was amazing. Holy shit. That was just like the hair in the back of my neck stood up. That was amazing. Then they did the theme from Schindler's List, which featured a violin, the first violin woman. Then selections from Star Wars, the asteroid field, which he's like, I made this amazing piece of music, and all you care about is asteroids and the spaceship and all this other noise. So I want you to hear the music without everything else, and that was pretty cool. Anakin's theme, which is interesting because it's the kids' theme with very subtle Darth Vader coming stuff. And then, which I was like, is this what I think it is? It's called Throne Room and Finale from Star Wars. So the ceremonial thing where they get the medals and the whole end, and that was just amazing.
Yeah.
So
that must have been great.
Better than just the Star Wars opening, because it plays all those things plus other stuff. That was just crazy. And some of that stuff, is like one instrument playing these things that are so stuck in your head. It's like mostly this guy with his oboe. He tends to really feature flute and this. It's not the oboe. I don't know what it is. It looks like a clarinet and it's got a metal stick coming out of it. So I don't know what that is. That was amazing. And then for encores, he did Helena's theme from Dial of Destiny, which whatever. E.T., which was amazing, and then the Imperial March at the end, which was just holy shit. That was just. I can't say how exciting that was. You know me, I don't get excited about.
No, it's coming through. Believe it or not, it is coming through. How excited you are!
Okay,
it's just even if it wasn't him there, just the orchestra playing,
but
that
him
stuff
being there.
wild.
So they did the Imperial March when he came out, which was really cool. Okay, and it was just like when he's basically making the long walk to the stage, and they're doing, and they made a joke about that. It's just amazing. It's like,
Brian, have you seen him at the Hollywood Bowl?
I've seen him at the Hollywood Bowl twice.
Yeah. It's something else. It's really
and
something else.
I had a much similar experience a week ago. I saw a concert in Ohio by my friend Tom Doherty, who is, his hobby is he has a talent. He can hear orchestral music that is lost and write out everybody's part. So he can arrange all the parts for all the orchestra and reignite music that's lost.
Wow.
So but he's also a huge Lost in Space fan. Like he was the guy on Collector's Call with the Jupiter 2 in his basement, which I got to see too, which was really cool. But he did a whole Lost in Space suite, which was just amazing with a 100-piece orchestra. It was a little tiny town orchestra. And he did Lost in Space, he did Raiders, he did The Day the Earth Stood Still, he did 2001: A Space Odyssey, Ghostbusters, and and the same Star Wars end theme with Princess Leia's theme and all that. And it was, again, you get choked up hearing this music because it's so meaningful if you're a fan. And it was an incredible concert. And Marta Kristen sang, which was great.
Well, not that it compares, but I mean, I did go see Extreme in Living Color last night, and getting to see Nuno.
Did you take your time machine there?
I did not take my time machine there, but it was a blast from the 90s past. But that was awesome. So, if you're a guitar player, getting to watch Nuno Betancourt play live is a pretty remarkable thing.
But I don't want to say this in a mean way, but the dude's 91. He's still doing stuff. If you have the opportunity to see him, go see him. It's not.
Yeah.
You can't say I'll see him in 5 years.
I was really, really glad when you mentioned it a couple weeks ago, and then the next thing we knew, you got tickets and you were going, because I knew you'd love it.
Yeah. And we got out of the parking lot pretty good, Todd. I know you said we sort of got out. The only thing is, so you come out of the parking lot, turn left to go to New York, turn right to go somewhere else. They were not allowing left turns, so...
Yeah.
We added like a half hour to our trip back at 11. I didn't get home until like 1:30 in the morning, but totally worth it.
It's absolutely brutal to get out of there, but it's worth it. And that's where, like I said, I've gone to see things set, on the lawn where you don't care that much about it, and you just hang out and drink for a while, and then you leave when most of the cars are gone. But
you gotta.
I'm
be
glad
there
you
for
I'm
a
glad you had
while.
that experience. It's terrific.
I would like to. I won't bore you on this, but they have all the people playing. There's like so many freaking
Yeah.
violins in this thing. I really don't know what this other. I gotta look this other. This is there was like one guy playing this thing. There's a lot of harp too, like stuff
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that's harp. I wouldn't have thought that's a harp. When you're hearing the music.
Okay, so I just looked up John Williams' tour schedule. Tanglewood, Osaka, Japan,
Yeah, he's going to Japan.
Mexico, Germany, Netherlands, United Kingdom, and then Philadelphia.
Ooh, Philadelphia. When's that?
February 20th, twice.
Oh, then he plays. So February 22nd, he's at Carnegie Hall with Yo-Yo Ma.
And then
But it's a film night too.
And then he's on his way to Switzerland.
We got to look into that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
I have seen Yo-Yo Ma 4 times without ever going to see Yo-Yo Ma, because he basically works. He does summers at Tanglewood, and he will come out on stage with like who's ever performing.
oh, really? That's cool.
I've seen him with James Taylor. I've seen him with a
What's
bunch
he
of
play
other.
he plays
Violin.
viola? No, that's the big violin. The next thing.
He did a
What's that
he was a
thing?
backup singer for James
Cello?
Taylor on 2 of his songs.
Cello. Isn't he a cellist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. An arranger, but it's yeah. You just
Cool.
if you spend any time in Tanglewood, you'll trip over him. So.
And he's
Awesome.
parking cars when he's not on stage.
That's
performing,
it. That's
apparently.
There's no. I wish they would park cars. There's no one
he's
parking
just trying
cars.
to leave, just trying to get out.
That's
of
a jerk show. I got to tell you. That's. But anyway. So Todd has a question he wants to ask.
Yes. Okay. So this is something I have been pondering since the most recent Marvel debacle, and I guess the question that keeps cycling through my head is like, why is it bad and why is it not going anywhere? And I kind of keep coming back to the same thing. And here's my question: did Endgame break the Marvel universe? Endgame / the Russo brothers / the blip, whatever you want to look at it. But did that moment in time break the Marvel universe to the point where it's impossible to get traction to move forward? Because they really haven't. And did taking the players off the board that they took off the board, did, having the universe and potential universe altering event happen, but then get wiped off the board, did that just leave them in a place that they can't move forward from? Or move forward from right now?
No. And thanks for listening. No. I think I see what you're saying with that. I think it ended a chapter as we know it ended whatever phase.
That's what
it's like I'm going to use a sports analogy. The 29 Yankees or whatever year and then Babe Ruth and Phil Rizzuto and whoever, that's not the guys, they're gone. And how do you move on? I don't think they really were thoughtful enough in how you move on, obviously. So,
but every baseball game leading to that World Series, that last World Series game, was not just for that season's that previous season's World Series game. There was a plan to continue playing games the next year, come back and continue playing games the next year.
There's a reason why in comics they keep resurrecting characters.
Yes.
Because you have the A team and everybody else is the B team and the C team, and you're not going to have a, oh my God, series of films with the B and C team. You're just not. True. You need the A team.
And you can't they couldn't resurrect Tony Stark. It's different, No, were they trying to play by comic book rules?
But basically the 3 people that were capable of running the Avengers, and you might argue on one of this, were Tony Stark, Cap, and Black Widow. Okay, because she was running it, basically keeping it going during the blip years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're all off the board. Okay, you have Thor, who's at best a free agent, anyways. And then, as Doctor Strange put it, various insect-themed people. Right?
Todd, I think you're absolutely right. And I think that they're going to trudge along and run into the ground. And then about 5 to 7 years later, reboot the whole damn thing.
That's what I'm wondering.
Because you can't make
it's really
a
tough
great
to
series without the A-team.
capture that magic again. I mean,
and this is so. I'll tell you, part of what got me thinking about this was I'm working my way through the Lord of the Rings saga again.
Sorry about that.
And I just finished the Silmarillion, which I'd never actually finished reading, and I finished listening to it. And, there's no sequel to Lord of the Rings. They didn't, everything that happened before that built up to that. Okay. Not intentionally, just like Endgame. They started with a thing, and then midway they said, oh, we're going to build up to something really, really huge. And then they build up to something really, really huge. But there's a reason they haven't gone back there. And likewise, I will say there's a reason that the sequels didn't really work for a lot of people in Star Wars. It's because we've defeated the big bad. We brought everything to a conclusion. All you can really do is wipe that event off the board and reset the board, which is what they tried to do with the sequels. And it's what they can't seem to be doing at Marvel right now.
Once you squeeze all the juice from that lemon, that's it.
But you know what? And so there have been 11 movies since Endgame. 11 MCU movies, and I liked 4 of them. It's not that they needed to reboot it, but as they were building towards Endgame, they should have had more of a plan for what was going to come next. And none of it's been exciting. And there are good characters left on the board. Maybe not the big 3, but there are good characters left on the board. And I just don't feel so as an example, there was a Black Widow movie. That was a main character that they went back and told a story. It was okay. There were Spider-Man movies that were good, but Doctor Strange, I did not like at all the movie that they did. I didn't like the last Ant-Man movie. The Eternals, like you mentioned earlier, was terrible. If they had had more of a plan for, all right, we know that we're culminating a huge story with Endgame, we better have a really solid plan to execute to start building towards the next thing. And none of what they've released, I feel, is built towards anything.
The guys in charge of Endgame were not in charge of what came afterwards.
And
but Kevin
Feige was. I think they also got diluted by all the TV shows too.
The most independent thing since Endgame, okay, I think is Guardian 3. I don't think that's reliant on anything other than the fact that it happens afterwards. And
the Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, was, I think, great, but it didn't really tie into any of that stuff.
It didn't. Yes,
I mean, not in a big way.
Not directly, but yes. But again, I think they need to go back to building block stage, but not be pushing we got told Ant-Man was going to be this, this is going to be the next big phase. And then it's at the end of it, he's walking down the street ruminating about whether it matters or not. Doesn't hint. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think they left enough pieces on the board to move forward with. They've got to start reestablishing characters and then make you want to see them to come together.
The first 2 Ant-Man movies were really good. So the third one could have also been really good, but it's almost like they're trying to tie the TV shows into the movies and the movies into the TV shows, and you said it, Dave. It's just getting diluted. Just tell a really good story.
If they had a good Ant-Man, a good Thor, and a good Doctor Strange, or a better Doctor Strange, you're never going to capture. Not that I like them, but the Beatles. But you could have the Ruddles. I mean, or the Monkeys.
So let's just use the Beatles as an example. Okay. You can kind of be excited about Paul McCartney and Wings. Okay. Post Beatles. But if you have Wings and you don't have Paul McCartney, okay.
But only Ringo's left. So that's the problem.
But what I'm saying is post Beatles era, right?
This is a bad analogy.
No,
but you can have Paul McCartney, and he's great post-Beatles.
You had a Doctor Strange movie. We like that character. That movie could have been better.
He's
Ringo.
Ringo.
An Ant-Man movie. We like those characters.
He's also Ringo.
You had a Thor movie. You like that character.
He's George Harrison.
I'm just saying there are A and B list players that they made movies from after Endgame, and they just weren't good.
Yeah, that's the problem.
they've got this multiverse they can play in. They could reboot those characters into something
So
really
this
cool
is
easily.
Okay, so this is my other thing. Okay, Endgame opened up the multiverse thing. Okay,
Which
the
probably
timelines
shouldn't have
and
been
the
the direction they went in.
alternate versions and all this kind of stuff, and that is the groove they are stuck in.
But
But
you
it also
can
became a
have
perfect.
another Captain America, Iron Man, Black
They're
Widow
gonna
movie.
though, and no
But
one's no one's gonna look at another Iron Man. It's just you're not gonna recreate.
Endgame gave people a really good jumping off point too, and I've said it. I don't want to see Falcon as Captain America. That's not a movie I'm excited about.
Yeah, me neither. They got a
I
problem.
think the TVs are
Tell
part.
better
TV
stories.
shows are part of the problems because they're making shows that are not compulsory for the movies, but they're just basically filler, and they come across that way. So like you can.
They
watch
kind
it.
of are.
No,
I mean,
no,
when
I
you
know
think
that.
about
Agents
it,
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's like-
revisited. Yeah.
It's like you're going to be able to watch the Marvels and not have seen what Nick Fury was doing this past 6 months. There might be one or two references to it, okay, but that's it.
But
And-
if you watch the Marvels and didn't watch the Mrs. Marvel TV show, you're not going to know who the hell Kamala Khan is.
I don't know that that's true.
I do. I firmly believe that.
I
Well,
think
they'll
you'll get. I would get.
And if you didn't see WandaVision, you're going to be wondering who the other character is, Monica Rambeau. Like I don't think that movie works for people. Which is, by the way, why they're actually running Ms. Marvel on ABC. They're running those episodes in prime time to try to get people to watch them.
And they got no content.
No, they got plenty of content.
They have content. They don't have late night talk shows, but they haven't run out of content yet.
Okay.
I think you could, had you done, if you were to say, here's the new, and they never really push the idea of the new Avengers or the good good Doctor Strange, Thor, Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, and Spider-Man. Those are good, but you just made shitty movies with some of them so far. That's a problem. Hulk, where's he? Is he done? I don't know.
I liked I liked Doctor Strange better than you guys did. I liked Spider-Man a lot. I liked Guardians a lot. I'm trying to think of what else.
Guardians are off the board though for Avengers type stuff, and I agree with you.
Yeah,
no, but that's why I went back and looked at the list. I found there were 4 of them that I really
liked. Your 4, Barry?
Let's go through the list. Top Marvel movies. Let's go through that right now. I'm joking.
What was Barry? What were the 4 that you liked?
The 2 Ant-Man movies that came out after Endgame. Right? Hang on.
No, there was only one.
No.
Well, there's 2. One good, one bad.
No, one.
Ant-Man and the Wasp was
came
after
out.
Endgame.
No. I'm sorry. I meant Spider-Man. I'm sorry. So let's see. Spider-Man: Far From Home came out after Endgame.
Yep.
I liked Captain Marvel. That came out after Endgame.
Did it?
Nope.
Yes.
Nope. Came out.
Then they're in the wrong order. Okay, so then I'm sorry. Then there were only 3. I'm looking at the list that we used for our rankings. So Spider-Man: Far From Home. I liked Black Widow. I didn't love Black Widow. Let's see. Guardians 3.
Doesn't count, but yeah.
Well, but it's a Marvel movie that came out after Endgame. That's kind of it.
That is so that those are the only 4 that we have that have come out that I would ever be. Oh well, no, I include Doctor Strange. Okay, so you add Doctor Strange to that. Those are the only 4 that I would ever see again.
I thought you liked Wakanda Forever more. No,
no.
That's stunk.
Okay.
No, I liked some of.
I don't even think of it in the list.
Yeah,
It's
I like
so
some
nothing.
of the characters that were in there, and I hope they do something better with them. But no.
But if you think of the bad movies they've made, the newest Thor, Ant-Man Quantumania, Wakanda Forever, what else is there? What was just
Eternals.
that doesn't count.
Shang-Chi.
It does though.
Shang-Chi was good, but
every one of those movies you
inconsequential.
mentioned is a A-list character from the Avengers movies. To my point, got to have the A-team. The Blue Beetle's not going to cut it.
But even Black Widow
Blue
was
Beetle's in a
good,
different
but
universe.
not
Different universe.
great.
Sorry.
He's in
And that was-
DC.
Oh, is he DC?
Yeah.
And there's no one left in that universe, Brian. So he could be king.
And look, I really liked WandaVision and I really liked Ms. Marvel, so I'm actually looking forward to the Marvels. It looks like a fun movie based on the trailer.
Yeah,
but I said that about Love and Thunder.
So.
I said that about Ant-Man Quantumania.
We were psyched about Love and Thunder after Ragnarok, and it was just awful.
It was awful, and that's the thing. And I'm wondering what it's going to take to turn this around, and whether they can do this. But
the problem is, Endgame and that whole leading up to it was that it's hard to recreate that. It was really good stuff, but they've just made bad stuff. So if these movies should have been Winter Soldier and Iron Man 3 and whatever to sort of build those characters, they dropped the ball on them. That's the problem.
And I would have, looking back, I wish that the Russos had been involved in Secret Invasion, because I bet that could have been awesome. It just wasn't.
Better stuff.
I'm not certain of that.
I don't know. Marvel seems to have a lot of problems making shows without superheroes in them. You know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
They had two superheroes.
That wasn't same
Winter Soldier,
people,
Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that sucked.
Oh, you're right.
No
18 players.
Well, Echo will be awesome, I'm sure.
Oh my God, this is a waste of videotape.
I totally disagree. I think the 2 episodes that Daredevil and Kingpin appear in are going to be as watchable as the 2 episodes of Boba Fett. That the
so now we're going to have 20 episodes of Daredevil.
Yeah.
How much is it going to?
No, I'm saying the 2 episodes of Echo that Daredevil and Kingpin appear in are going to be like the 2 episodes of Mandalorian.
Add that to the 18
Boba
episodes.
Fett,
What if Daredevil sucks? Are you just going to be crushed?
I can't deal with that reality right now.
I was going to say, Todd may not recover from that.
Okay, Daredevil doesn't have the baggage that everyone who survived Infinity War has.
But it's not the character's problem. It's not or fault. It's the writer's fault. It's the director's fault. It's the producer's fault.
Right, but it's right now. They are, instead of telling standalone stories that get you to know who the character is, that get you interested in the characters, they're trying to lean into the next big thing, and there's no next big thing.
That doesn't. But Daredevil could have a great idea and just be executed poorly. I'm hoping that's not the case. 18 episodes is all.
I would love to know what they've. I would love to know what they've got planned. That they know at this point they've got 18 episodes worth of material.
It's going to be like the Flash. They're going to
unless they're going to be 30-minute episodes.
He's going to be caught in the mirror universe or something.
I do not want to do this now. I do not want to do it because I'm already worried about this. We on Netflix we had 13 episode seasons of Daredevil with a solid 8 episodes of content. So
yeah.
Let's just be
really
excited that
we're getting 2 9-episode seasons served consecutively.
Aren't you just excited that the Ben Affleck era Daredevil Elektra it will be in
the rearview mirror.
Deadpool 3? Jennifer Garner is supposedly
really?
in Deadpool 3. I'm excited for that.
Me too.
Okay, that left everyone speechless.
It feels like a good place to end.
That is a good place to end. Okay, let's go. What's in the box?
Show you in the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Barry, what's in the box?
Came today. It's we did all this musical talk, so this is Wolfgang Van Halen's new album, Mammoth 2. It's my copy that comes with a signed little print that was inside there, signed by Wolfgang himself.
Good.
Yeah,
it's a CD?
It's a CD, physical media. I support the people that I still like by buying their music. But yeah, it's cool. It came with a little signed print by Wolfgang.
That's nice. Cool.
Yeah. That's it. Dave, as you're drinking, I go to Dave as he's drinking a glass of water. Sorry, Dave.
I'll do this quick. I have just opened it tonight, but I have the Hot Toys Luke Besbin. I haven't even put his accessories on, but I got to say, you know what they really up their game with? These sort of micro fabrics, like thin and they drape properly. It's just they've really, really done it. We've seen that on a bunch of stuff, but this material stuff, head sculpt is really good. Really good head sculpt, and they have his sort of disheveled hair and his non-disheveled hair. when
Yeah,
it
well,
goes on.
I
it's
wonder
just
if those
basically
are the
like
same.
It's
magnet.
the pre-parental disclosure hair and the post-parental disclosure hair. Yeah.
I wonder if those are the same hair pieces, because the original Bespin Luke that came out was the first Star Wars Hot Toys ever released. Was a 2-pack where you had the clean Luke and the disheveled
And then
Luke,
the
and I
beat the
still have
shit
those.
Luke. Yeah. Yep.
So
But
I
yeah,
wonder
the head
if,
sculpt
if
is great.
some of
They
those
really
might be
did
the
a good
same
job.
pieces. But yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah, I haven't put them together. And
It looks
there's
like he
hands
was
in-
recently in a car accident. It's great.
Yeah,
You mean
He
hit
had
by a wampa? Attacked
he's
by
got
a
a
wampa?
that's right, hit by a wampa,
cravat around his neck that I got to take off. But yeah, so I haven't really dug into him, but really good head sculpt, great costume.
Looking forward to see how you pose them.
Todd will come over and fix it.
I will.
Todd, what's in the box?
Okay. This is a R2D2 that Barry recently gave me.
That wasn't in a box. Oh, it wasn't.
It was.
It wasn't a
And
box.
I got it home safely intact with nothing broken. Which
Oh, nice.
Just absolutely amazes me. But I have the Kodu R2 that's exactly this size on my robot shelf in my office, and this one's going in to replace it because this one is just so much cooler. And
That's a Bandai model kit that I built for Todd.
And
I
I
got
built
one
one for
too.
Dave too.
But
painted fabulously.
Oh,
and
yes.
and it's actually it's got better detail than the Kodu one, and much cooler accessories, including like extra accessories that I never take out of the plastic bag, but they're still very, very cool. And I got them home without breaking
they're
them,
all
which
painted
nice.
too.
I was just like, yeah, we pulled in and Karen's getting stuff out of the car, and I was like, don't touch the box. So, anyways,
Well, I rarely get to see you guys in person, so if I'm going to deliver something, I mean, that's not something I could mail, so it was good to be able to
well,
handle
we
it.
appreciate the effort. Thank you very
just the
much.
second trip I made home from Dave's with a very delicate robot. So
There you go.
So it's but this one, like I said, is going to go on my robot shelf in my office.
Nice.
Cool.
Yep.
Brian, what's in the box?
Mine has a little story. So in the late 70s, early 80s, and Dave may know this story. I don't know if the other guys know this story. This guy had found a stash of original Star Trek props. And was everyone was like, "Are these real? These not real." Greg Jean looked at them. Greg Jean bought one because this is a real prop. My friend Bruce Wegman bought a communicator, and of course I was in college, so I couldn't afford any of the stuff. Recently, one came up in auction, and ooh,
Are you kidding me?
and it's all a lie. Mark English manufactured props that were bad but good, so good he fooled Greg Jean.
Oh,
So it's
it's
an
not,
original tricorder that's not an original tricorder.
not authentic.
It's a very, very famous copy.
Wow.
So you've known that for years.
Oh, of course, yeah. I bought it as a Mark. What's funny now is that the Mark English story is so famous amongst prop collectors that his stuff is now raising in value. It's a tenth of what the Greg Jean stuff's going to go for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like an original original tricorder.
Wow. That's cool,
amazing. I'm sure I've told you guys this, but I know I've told Dave and Todd this, but completely unrelated. But my grandfather was known for, he was a collector of Marconi wireless stuff. He had his own museum at one point, and he was known for making such amazing fakes of things that at radio collector conventions they would have panels on how to spot my grandfather's fakes. But yeah,
That's cool, though.
when you held that up, and I thought for a second you were telling us you got a real one.
What auction was that in?
This was in the most recent Heritage auction.
And you got it already.
A week.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
I may have something coming from that auction.
Ooh, interesting. So I have to ask if you remember, I know you say you were in college back when those things were originally sold, but do you remember what the asking prices were at that point?
It was thousands of dollars, which was outrageous.
At the time, right? But now
1981,
you think about it, and it's like, oh my god, what I
yeah,
could
they're
have
going to
had.
start at $50,000 probably in October when the auction comes up.
That's amazing.
No, what was he selling? But that's what he was selling those things for?
Yes,
back then.
because they were sold as originals.
Yeah, that's
We
crazy.
fooled a lot of experts because there was no internet, right? There weren't pictures of the originals.
Yes,
You could go to a
yep.
web page and look at the alpha, beta, gamma communicators. It was a few guys had seen the real ones and they said, yeah, these look real.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And his
was
was much less likely to explode.
Even the replica business, not business, that's not the right word, of Star Trek stuff. There's Brad Nelson, which I know you, Brian, you have one. Brad Nelson made the sort of the first, they're not even commercials, sold the first like really good phasers. There's people making replicas of those, and those were replicas. Yeah. And the replicas of replicas sell for a lot of money.
The replicas are now selling for what I paid for my original 10 years ago.
Ugh, crazy.
Yeah.
I know I was at the Star Trek Federation Trading Post, and they were selling them for $75 back in 1975. Yeah. And that was
a ridiculous amount of money, though.
That was a ridiculous amount of money because I went in and my parents said you could spend $10, and I came back out with a ton of stuff, and that was like a lot of money in 1975.
I remember looking at that Brad Nelson phaser. They're always $75, and I just saved up all my lawn cutting money for like 6 months to buy a $65 black and white television for my room. That's the kind of equivalency it was.
Right.
And how much is that television worth now?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's cool. I'm glad that these Star Trek things have this life, these replicas and things. There's like, oh, that's a Jim Kirk. Jim Kirk was a guy who made them. That's a so-and-so. There's all these sort of grade levels of replicas from the early days and stuff. I'm
working on a really nice collection of fakes that look just like the originals, but they're not.
Yeah, I have this Roddenberry one that I've had for 10, 15 years that is like, that's the Cadillac of modern replicas. I haven't put it together yet, though. So, anyway, cool. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
What are we doing next week? We don't know. A big surprise next week to all of us.
Like most weeks.
Well, thank you, Brian.
Oh,
and
it was fun.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.